Good evening, folks. This is Deb. I can't tell if I'm warm or cold tonight. I think I'm tired. So I think my body goes from being hot to cold. I know I'm not sick, but I am uh, running myself ragged between work and taking care of my youngest daughter, who um, is going through some stuff right now. She's, autistic and has some issues. And so it's been kind of hectic over the last month or so. And I don't see that letting up anytime soon, but hopefully we'll get her squared away pretty soon. Um, I'm trying not to reveal too much because, she's a kind of a private person. But um, couple things to talk about before we get into Caitlin Clark's 6 favorite players, okay? Now, Caitlin Clark will be playing in the ANNIKA again next month. So she will be golfing, okay? She is scheduled to golf in Bel Air, Florida on Wednesday, November 12th. Now, if you remember last year, um, the golf world went insane. Actually, the sports world went insane when they found out that Caitlin Clark was playing in the ANNIKA. Okay, I mean, it was it was like the Golf Channel went live during her round. Okay, and they also had a reporter interview her on her walk down the fairway. And that is the Caitlin Clark effect, my friends, okay? And um, Annika Sorenstam said it was an honor to play in the Pro-Am with Caitlin last year. The crowds were amazing, and we are excited for her return to the Annika in November. Um, she added such a great dynamic to our event, and her passion for golf and competitiveness were fun to witness firsthand. Um, so the writer of this article was also the only reporter that covered Caitlin Clark last year, um, because she had the day before she held a successful women's leadership summit that became standing room only. Okay, but she said that most groups who were who were taking part in the tournament had a handful and sometimes maybe a dozen followers. Clark had thousands. She played the front nine with world number one Kelly Korda and Nelly Korda, and the back nine with golf icon Annika Sorenstam, the event's host. So Caitlin Clark, my friends, is not just leading a revolution in women's basketball. She is advancing the cause of women's sports nationally and internationally. That's that's exactly what generational players do. So what we should also note is that um, Caitlin Clark has had an endorsement deal with Gainbridge, uh, the sponsor of the LPGA event itself, and she's had this endorsement since her senior year at Iowa. So Gainbridge donated for her involvement. Gainbridge donated $22,000 to the Caitlin Clark Foundation. Um, So that's the scoop on that. That's coming up November 12th. I will be telling you, I could be calling in sick that day if it's going to be televised. Now, here's the really big news, because I think this is a big deal. For me, this is a big deal, okay? Caitlin Clark was named to AP's all-time starting five women's college basketball, um, you know, group, all right? Alongside Cheryl Miller, Candace Parker, Breanna Stewart, and Diana Taurasi. To me, that's a big thing. That's a big thing for a 23-year-old to be in the all-time starting five of women's college basketball. And you had some, again, this was announced on Twitter, and I have some very distinct feelings about Twitter. I think it's a cesspool, actually. It has become a cesspool politically since Elon Musk bought it, but it's basically a cesspool. And there's a lot of guys on there who are misogynists who were commenting she never even won a college championship. Well, let me just give you a little tip, okay, buddy? First of all, basketball championships are won by a team, not by one person, okay? You know who else never won a college championship? I know who never won a college championship. His name was Larry Bird. Larry Bird never won a college championship, okay? He won 3 championships with the Boston Celtics, and he won 3 consecutive MVP awards with the Boston Celtics. But he did not win a championship. In fact, Larry Bird originally went into Bobby Knight's program and could not handle the size of the school, and actually dropped out of college and was a trash collector for a year before enrolling in a smaller college in Indiana where he made his mark, okay? And was chosen number 1 by the Boston Celtics. While he was a junior, Red Auerbach chose him as the number 1 pick and allowed him to stay in school and get his degree. That's when the NBA instituted the Auerbach rule, which said you couldn't do that stuff anymore. But Red Auerbach was smart enough to do that. And we ended up with Larry Bird, and everybody was pissed off. Oops, so sorry. But that's the way it goes. So anyway, those are the 2 big things, and I think it's a big thing that Caitlin Clark was named to AP's all-time starting 5. These women that are mentioned with her are legends, okay? So Caitlin Clark is legendary at the age of 23 years old, in fact. So now, Caitlin Clark's 6 favorite basketball players. So this video is 19 minutes long. So I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I don't want to show you the whole 19 minutes within my video, but I will make sure that I put it in the body of the video for you guys to sit and watch at your leisure, okay? But we will definitely watch some of it, so hang on. Hold on, I did it again. I forgot to optimize this because I'm not myself. Well, I am myself, but don't I forget this every night? I have no excuse. Okay. There we go. Get ready.
Farm is there.
Caitlin Clark just named her 6 favorite basketball players of all time. Some of these names make perfect sense. Others, they're going to blow your mind. One of them is so unexpected that when she revealed it, the entire basketball world did a double take. We're talking about a player most people have completely forgotten about, but Clark? She was absolutely obsessed with him. She owned his merchandise. She watched every single one of his games, and that player's influence is written all over her game today. But before we get to that shocker, let's start with the player who started it all. The woman Caitlin Clark called her hero, the one she wanted to be when she grew up. Maya Moore wasn't just good, she was unstoppable. 4 national championships at UCNN, 4 WNBA titles with the Minnesota Lynx, 2 Olympic gold medals. She could score, defend, lead, and do whatever her team needed. And for a young Caitlin Clark growing up in Iowa, Maya Moore was everything. When people asked Clark who her favorite player was, she didn't hesitate. Maya Moore, always Maya Moore.
I know Maya Moore is your favorite player. In a game to 11 against prime Maya Moore, how many points?
11-0, Maya Moore, for sure.
You're not scoring 1 bucket.
I'm not scoring. She's blocking me.
Think about what that means. Clark didn't just admire Moore's shooting or her scoring, she admired the complete package. Moore played the game the right way, unselfish, smart, clutch. She made her teammates better. She won when it mattered most. That's what Clark wanted to become. In interviews, Clark has said she grew up idolizing professional basketball players, and Moore was at the top of that list. She watched Moore dominate at UConn, then transition to the WNBA and keep dominating. Moore made it look natural, like winning was just what you did when you played basketball. But here's the part that'll hit you in the feelings. March 2024, Iowa's senior night, Caitlin Clark's final home game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. The crowd is going crazy, celebrating everything Clark accomplished. And then, out of nowhere, Maya Moore walks onto the court. Clark had no idea it was happening. The surprise was complete. They embraced, and you could see what it meant to Clark, her childhood hero right there showing up for her.
State Farm knew it had been some time since you'd seen Maya, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Maya Moore is there.
Oh my gosh.
That moment said everything about how much Moore's influence mattered. A month later, Clark appeared on Saturday Night Live. During the Weekend Update segment, she made sure to thank 5 black women who paved the way for her success: Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Dawn Staley, and Maya Moore, her basketball hero growing up. Clark understood something important. These women built the WNBA when nobody was paying attention. They played for tiny crowds and small paychecks. They did it because they loved the game. And now, Clark was reaping the benefits of everything they sacrificed. She never forgot that. She never forgot Maya Moore. So what did Clark take from Moore's game? The completeness. Moore wasn't just a scorer. She was 6 feet 0 inches with guard skills and forward strength. She could post up smaller players, shoot over taller ones, and break down defenses with her handles. Clark built her game the same way. Sure, everyone talks about Clark's shooting, but watch her closely. She's averaging over 8 assists per game in the WNBA. She's grabbing rebounds. She's playing defense. She does everything just like Maya Moore did. That's not a coincidence. That's the blueprint Moore provided. But Moore wasn't the only one Clark studied. There was another player whose influence is written all over Clark's game. A player who changed basketball forever with his shooting range. Stephen Curry, the name that comes up every single time someone talks about Caitlin Clark, and for good reason. The comparisons are obvious. Both shoot from distances that make coaches nervous. Both have quick releases that are nearly impossible to block. Both can take over games without even trying. So yeah, it makes sense that Clark grew up watching Steph Curry and absorbing everything he did. Clark has been open about it. She said multiple times that she always watched Curry growing up. How could she not? Curry was rewriting the rules of basketball, showing the world that you didn't need to be 6 feet 8 inches to dominate the NBA. You could be a 6 foot 3 inch guard who shoots from the logo and runs circles around defenders. Curry made deep threes normal. Before him, pulling up from 30 feet was considered a bad shot. After him, it became the most exciting play in basketball. And Clark? She took that lesson to heart. Her range is limitless. Defenders have to pick her up at half court because if they don't, she's shooting. She's hit shots from the tunnel entrance, from the opposite three-point line, from places that don't even make sense. That's pure Curry influence right there. The confidence to shoot from anywhere, combined with the skill to actually make those shots, that came from watching Steph. But here's where it gets interesting. Steph Curry himself has talked about the Clark comparisons, and he's not a fan of them. Not because he doesn't like Clark, the opposite actually. In an interview with CBS Mornings, Curry said the comparisons rob her of showing her complete game. He pointed out that everyone focuses on Clark's shooting ability, but she's so much more than that. She's averaging near triple-doubles. She's a floor general. She's one of the best passers in basketball. Curry basically said, stop limiting her to just shooting because she's doing everything at an elite level. That's high praise from someone who revolutionized the game, and Curry's right. Clark is more than just her shot. But that doesn't change the fact that Curry's influence is massive. Clark's step back three, that's got Curry written all over it. The way she creates space with her handles and then rises up for a quick release, pure Steph. Even the swagger, the way she celebrates after hitting a ridiculous shot, that's got some Curry flavor to it. There were even rumors earlier this year about Clark potentially joining an all-star three-point contest alongside Curry, Klay Thompson, and Sabrina Ionescu. That would have been incredible to watch. Unfortunately, Clark's representatives confirmed she wouldn't be attending, probably because she wanted to rest after an exhausting rookie season. But just the fact that conversation was happening shows you how much respect Clark has earned from NBA players. And speaking of NBA players, Clark has gone on record calling LeBron James the GOAT, but when it comes to pure shooting influence, that's Steph Curry all day. Clark watched him torch defenses for years, and she learned every trick. The relocating for open threes, the shooting off the dribble, the range that makes defenders panic. Curry showed her what was possible, and Clark said, yeah, I can do that too. But now we get to the really interesting part, because the next player on Clark's list, nobody saw this coming, Jimmer Fredette. Yeah, you heard that right. The BYU legend who became a college basketball sensation for exactly 2 years before fading into NBA obscurity. Caitlin Clark was obsessed with Jimmer Fredette, and this isn't some casual, oh yeah, I watched him a few times situation. No, Clark was all in on Jimmer Mania. Let's set the scene. It's 2011. Jimmer Fredette is a senior at Brigham Young University, and he's putting up video game numbers. 29 points per game, launching threes from everywhere, leading BYU to the Sweet 16. The dude wins National Player of the Year. He's selling out arenas. People are making songs about him. Teach Me How to Jimmer goes viral on YouTube, a remix of Teach Me How to Dougie, but all about Jimmer's ridiculous shooting. And Caitlin Clark, who's 9 years old at the time, is watching every single game. She's not just watching, she's obsessed. Clark and her cousins would tune into every BYU game. When the games weren't on, they'd watch Jimmer highlights on YouTube over and over again. Clark was studying his step-back three, his momentum-forward shooting style, the way he'd pull up from 30 feet without hesitation. And she didn't just watch, she bought the merch. Clark literally owned a Teach Me How to Jimmer t-shirt. That's dedication right there. Fast forward to 2024, ESPN Plus releases an episode of Sue Bird's show called Sue's Places, and they bring Jimmer Fredette to Iowa's Carver Hawkeye Arena to meet Caitlin Clark. Clark tells Bird and Fredette the whole story, how she vividly remembers his tournament run, how she and her cousins were glued to the TV, how she's always been a huge Jimmer fan. Fredette is loving it, obviously. Here's one of the greatest women's basketball players ever telling him she modeled part of her game after him. So what happens next? They set up a three-point contest, Clark versus Jimmer. Sue Bird picks the spots by moving around a giant cutout of her own face, because why not make it weird? Both of them nail their first two shots. Bird decides that's too easy for two of the best three-point shooters from the logo of all time, so she moves the spot out of bounds. Clark goes first and drains it. Fredette, brick, misses off the rim. Then they try shooting from the bleachers. Clark misses, and Fredette decides not to even attempt his shot, giving Clark the 3-2 victory. And Clark, she goes full savage mode. She looks at Fredette and Bird and says, "It's been fun hanging out with two people who invented the three-point shot. The trash talk was incredible. She beat her childhood hero and then roasted him for it. That's peak Caitlin Clark right there." But why does Jimmer Fredette matter? Why is he on this list alongside legends like Maya Moore and Steph Curry? Because Fredette showed Clark something important. You don't have to be an NBA superstar to have influence. Fredette was a college player just like Clark was at the time. He proved that college basketball could be must-see TV if you played with enough confidence and flair. He showed that you could shoot from anywhere and make it work. Clark has admitted that her step-back three is hard to pinpoint where it came from because she absorbed so much basketball, but she specifically mentioned Jimmer as one of the players she always watched. That momentum-forward shooting motion Fredette used, Clark uses the same technique. When she shoots those deep threes, she's not stationary. She's moving forward into the shot, using her momentum to generate power. That's straight from the Jimmer playbook. And here's the thing, Jimmer's NBA career didn't pan out. He averaged 7.6 points as a rookie with Sacramento and never found his footing in the league. He ended up playing overseas in China and then with Team USA's 3x3 basketball squad. But that doesn't matter. His college dominance inspired a 9-year-old girl in Iowa to believe that shooting from absurd distances was possible. That's influence. That's legacy. The Jimmer Fredette obsession might be the most unexpected part of Clark's story, but it's also one of the most important. It shows that Clark wasn't just watching the biggest stars, she was watching everyone who played the game in a way that excited her. And that brings us to the next player on the list, someone who influenced Clark's all-around game in ways that go beyond shooting. LeBron James, the king. And in Caitlin Clark's eyes, the GOAT. Clark hasn't been shy about it. She's called LeBron the greatest of all time.
I knew I was going to meet him when I was coming to the game, and that's like one of my idols. Like, LeBron is the GOAT to me, so I don't know, it was just like a crazy moment where I got to meet him in the back, and then for him to go out of his way and like wish me luck on the season. And he really does follow the WNBA, and he watches, and he loves and appreciates basketball, and he loves and appreciates the way the Fever and my teammates play. And I mean, it's just really cool. I saw that. I didn't see it before the game, but obviously a lot of people had sent it to me after the game. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought it was kind of fake at first, but he's my favorite player of all time. I mean, you never know in today's world, I guess. I didn't know. I was like, wait, is this actually LeBron James? I knew the picture was real because I knew that was me, but yeah, it was pretty incredible. Like, I mean.
Not Michael Jordan, not Kobe Bryant, LeBron. And when you look at how Clark plays, you can see exactly why LeBron made this list. LeBron isn't just a scorer. Yeah, he's got over 40,000 career points now, but that's not what defines him. What defines LeBron is his vision, his ability to control the game without even scoring. His court awareness that lets him find teammates in places defenders don't even see. He's 6 feet 9 inches and 250 pounds, but he plays like a point guard. He orchestrates offenses. He makes everyone around him better. Sound familiar? Caitlin Clark models her game the same way. She's a guard who can score 40 points if she needs to, but she'd rather get her teammates involved. In her rookie WNBA season, Clark set the all-time single-season assist record. She averaged over 8 assists per game. She became the first rookie ever to record a triple-double. That's not just scoring, that's LeBron-level playmaking. Clark has said she watched LeBron growing up, and you can see it in how she approaches the game. LeBron makes the right play. Even if it's not the flashy one, he'll give up an open layup to pass to a teammate in the corner for a wide open three. Clark does the same thing. She'll drive to the basket with 3 defenders collapsing on her, and instead of forcing a tough shot, she'll whip a pass to an open teammate. That's winning basketball. That's LeBron basketball. And here's the cool part. LeBron actually watches Caitlin Clark. He's tweeted about her. He's praised her game publicly. Before one of Clark's games, people sent her screenshots of LeBron's tweets supporting her and the Fever. Clark's response? That's one of my idols. LeBron is the GOAT to me. He really does follow the WNBA. He watches and he loves and appreciates basketball, and he loves and appreciates the way the Fever and my teammates play. That mutual respect is beautiful. Clark grew up watching LeBron dominate the NBA, and now LeBron is watching Clark dominate the WNBA. Both of them faced insane pressure from day one. LeBron had "The Chosen One" tattooed on his back in high school because the expectations were that ridiculous. Clark had every game televised nationally, with millions watching to see if she'd live up to the hype. Both of them handled it. Both of them thrived. What Clark took from LeBron is the complete package mentality. LeBron never wanted to be just a scorer. He wanted to be the best all-around player in basketball. Clark has the same mindset. She wants to score, yes, but she also wants to lead, to pass, to rebound, to play defense. She wants to impact every part of the game. That's LeBron's influence right there.
So, gang, I didn't want to let that go too much longer because sometimes they don't like that. The powers that be on YouTube will tell you that's a copyright strike. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I think I'll be okay with that. Some videos actually have copyright, but they allow it to be replayed. So I'm hoping that's what this is. I won't know till I actually try to put this video up. But I will make sure that the link to that video is inside the description of this video. I will also post it under posts on the channel itself. So it will be there permanently. You won't have to go digging through videos to find it, okay? I just noticed also, while I was allowing that video to play, that there is a video out there talking about the fact that Caitlin Clark was named to the AP all-time college starting 5. I haven't watched that video yet myself. I just saw it for the first time, but I will put a link in to that video as well. I believe it's Robin Lundberg's video, and he's pretty good. I watch Robin Lundberg, so that's what we got tonight. We'll get back to some highlights tomorrow night. When it'll be an earlier night tomorrow night than tonight, but that's it, okay? And I'm keeping my eye on the CBA as much as I can. I expect that that will, obviously it's the 17th, right? It expires on the 31st, and you will remember that the last time the CBA came up for negotiation, that they had to extend it. They had to extend the deadline to get something done. And I believe that if push comes to shove and that's what happens, they will extend the deadline, because I think that both sides understand, or at least I would hope they would understand, that with the eyes now on women's pro basketball the way they are, that it is to nobody's benefit to have a lockout, okay? They can talk all they want. This is the thing. They can talk all they want. They're talking about Unrivaled being like the best thing ever. Okay, that's 3-on-3 basketball. Okay, in my mind, I get it. I get it that pros play. To me, 5-on-5 is real basketball, not 3-on-3. Okay, that's a nice little diversion, is what that is. For me, it's a diversion. Okay, it is not professional women's basketball. There is only one professional women's basketball league. It's the WNBA. Okay, and I do realize that Athletes Unlimited is 5-on-5 basketball, but their funky scoring thing makes it a novelty for me. Okay, they do some kind of thing with points and however many. I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain it. It was so complicated when I was reading about how they allot points and scoring that it blew my mind. So to me, those are novelties. Those are off-season novelties for me. So we do not want a lockout here, okay? And I don't think that either side thinks that that is a benefit in any way to either side, okay? What will happen is the fans won't be happy with either side of the coin if that happens. So let's not let that happen, okay? You know, let's keep the momentum going. Let's keep the discussions going. Let's be reasonable. Let's get as much as we can. You know, somebody said to me earlier on that the players are asking too much. Well, you know, when you go into negotiations like this, you don't start at the bottom, okay? You start at the top and then you come down. But you start at the bottom and you get nothing. That's really the way it works. That's the way I'm sure that the owners and negotiators would prefer it to be, but that's not smart. That's not the way unions work. You start at the top and get as much as you can, okay? You need to start from a position of strength, not start from a position of, I'll capitulate to anything. That just isn't going to work. So let's just keep this stuff going. If we need to extend it beyond the 31st, then let's get it done, okay? We just need to get this done. I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. You have a great night. Don't forget to check out the rest of that video, okay? Don't forget. And everybody was upset that Larry Bird wasn't on the list. Guess what? I'm a Larry Bird fan. I have other things to be upset about. I was not upset about that at all, okay? She is a product of her generation. I am a product of my generation, okay? I will talk to you guys tomorrow.